Welcome to Tech Talk, y'all.
Hello, and welcome to Tech Talk, y'all, episode 342. I'm Sanjay Park.
And I'm Adam Walker, and man, we have a great episode for you, assuming you're not affected by all of the outages that are affecting everybody else, and your computer's down, and you're basically just in the dark ages again. If you're not in the dark ages, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you here. So
I guess if they're in the dark ages, they can't even hear the fact that we know that they're in the dark ages, right?
I mean, but did they call the dark ages when you're in the dark? It's like you don't know you're in the good times until you're not in the good times, and then you're like, oh man, I missed the good times. So it's like that line from.
But you know you're in the bad times, right? Because they're just bad.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, you know when it's bad. So
then wouldn't they know that they're in the dark ages? Because
I mean, it's dark. You wouldn't call it the ages. It's not an age when you're in it. It's an era, obviously. So Taylor Swift reference. You're welcome. So all right, listen. Let's dive in. Major airlines, medical systems affected by mass IT outage for Windows users. And this is affecting like I've got a friend whose kids aren't able to fly home. I talked to another person in St. Louis, and they said the average flights were delayed by like 140 some odd minutes. I mean, like it's affecting everything at scale, and it's not a hack. It's just like a flawed security rollout or something, right? What was this?
So a company called CrowdStrike that manages security and then updates and stuff for apparently a lot of people, pushed out a bad update, and it's causing Windows computers to blue screen of death, BSOD, which is the acronym for that, and then keep rebooting and still blue screen of deathing. So, they say they're working on a fix, but here's the thing. If it's blue screen of deathing and then rebooting back into blue screen of death,
it can't get the fix.
I don't think they can remotely fix this. I think this is going to have to be a one-on-one IT people going to each machine and updating. Now, I don't know anything for sure, but this is me dealing with computers before. I'm like, I don't think you can remotely fix that.
Yeah, I mean, once you're in the blue screen of death, there's not much you can do. Like, it's not connected to the internet at that point. There's nothing.
Right.
I mean,
unless they have some hardware or something on top of it that allows like remote control even without the operating system running.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know that they do.
That is bad
your
news.
Friends that have kids that are trying to fly home might be there for a minute.
It might be a hot minute. Yeah, that's the bad news, man. And it's crazy too that like I was reading the article, it was talking about how a bunch of political leaders were talking about how this just shows how fragile our internet infrastructure really is, that one company can push out one bad update and it has this global impact. And I guess I never really thought, I mean, you think of the internet being super robust and like kind of like very backed up, I guess, but I mean, maybe not. Like maybe it's a little more fragile than I thought.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because the reason why the internet was created was to be resilient in the case of a nuclear attack on the United States. That's why we invented it, so that packets would get rerouted if there was a colossal, like, catastrophic event that happened in one major city that destroyed the network and the connectivity there. The data would continue to flow in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think we've now gotten to the point now where there's these mega corporations that handle so much for so many companies that they mess up and everybody's in trouble. So we don't have that resiliency necessarily. And I think we've talked about this on the show before too. I think this is why it's important that there is a diversity of software and platforms, right? Like so many people use Google Chrome. You and I use Firefox because we think it works better. We think it's got just better ability to do things. Although we're going to, talk about
that in a minute because Firefox might have made some missteps. I guess we'll see. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But having this diversity of stuff, I think is a good thing. So not having everybody on Windows, not having everybody on Mac, having, other operating systems out there, but the fact of the matter is that there are some operating systems like Windows that have a large majority of service with big corporations.
So much enterprise software, all enterprises Windows based. I mean,
but by the way, it's an interesting point is that I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but if you're a little on an airplane, the little display that's on the back of the seat, if it ever reboots, you can see that it's actually running Linux. On the airplane.
Okay. All right.
Those are not Windows. Those are not anything. It's all Linux on there. So
all right.
It's so super fascinating. So anyways,
I like it.
Moving on, how false nostalgia inspired No Place, a MySpace-like app for Gen Z. I have not seen this. I've not heard of this. And by the way, when MySpace was out.
MySpace,
I didn't really have an account. Like I looked at a couple of things on there, but I was like, you had a MySpace account.
I had a highly customized, ugly profile. I mean, you could MySpace was crazy because you could go into these account theme generators, and you could do this really weird, very unique, completely unexpected design, and it would give you this bucket of code you could just drop into a spot in MySpace, and it would change the entire design of the entire site anytime somebody went to your profile. It was wild. I mean, it was literally going to a completely different website. It was so strange. So this does that. You can make your profiles ugly. You can add streaming audio. On MySpace, it was kind of crazy too. You go to a profile and it would just start playing a song. As soon as you loaded the profile, the song would just start playing, which I now think of as very strange and awkward and kind of annoying. And it'll do that. You can auto stream a song and you can do all this stuff.
Right.
I don't have much interest in this at all, but if it's fascinating, but I don't think I'll be setting up an account because I don't.
So the only thing that I hope they don't try to bring back is the cursed blink tag in HTML. Do you remember the blink tag?
The blinked. Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Where it would make text blink.
Yes.
And oh my gosh. I totally forgot about that.
So
yeah, it was the worst.
Right?
It was the worst. Yes.
Absolute
oh my gosh.
Worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I think is probably if we're talking about technology, cursed technology that I'm glad that's gone. That's high up on the list for me. It's probably definitely in my top 5.
I think one of my top ones is that the GIF of the spinning email, the spinning mailbox or whatever, just the ugly, you know what I'm saying? Like super ugly animated ones. That's the one I don't ever want to see that again. That was terrible.
If we're talking about GIFs, the one I would nominate is, remember that baby in the diaper that would dance around in circles?
That
was awful. That was no.
So I mean, in all fairness, all of the animated GIFs that were like that, just let it go. It's like GeoCities was nothing but animated GIFs and ugly tables. That was all GeoCities was, So anyway, we just really dated ourselves there. So let's move on, I guess. Google near deal to acquire cybersecurity startup Wiz for $23 billion. This would be Google. I can't talk for some reason. This would be Google's largest acquisition to date. $23 billion. And what's crazy to me is Wiz wasn't started that long ago. It's got startup investments from Andreessen and those guys. And it's also, it did, I think, $100 million in revenue in its first 18 months. And then it did, I think, more than $200 million in revenue the next year. Is that right?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then, they're going to have some kind of issue and take down the entire internet because they're selling obviously to everybody as well.
Probably so.
Yeah. It really feels like Google is just trying to figure out a place to park some cash, right? They started this after the failed attempt to acquire HubSpot, and they're I got all this money burning a hole in my pocket. What do I buy next? What's next on the list?
That's wild. Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know why they don't do some. If they can't figure out a way to use the cash, do some dividends. Reward your shareholders. Do something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Get rid of your cash. It's fine. Roll it out.
Yeah. Obviously, you have too much of it. It's time to move on. Somebody that's trying to get more cash and doing things that is not helpful to any of us is Firefox. Firefox privacy issues. So this is actually a thread on Mastodon. And I did not know about this, and I immediately went to my settings and disabled this. But basically, in the latest version of Firefox, they have rolled out a feature. And what was the feature called? I forgot. It says something. Oh, website advertising preferences. So it says allow websites to perform, privacy preserving ad measurement. Those are not words that go together, by the way. Oxymoron,
privacy
right?
preserving ad measurement.
Ad measurement.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Like, that's not a phrase. That's a marketer phrase. Like, okay, what can we call this that'll make it palatable? Like, that's not a phrase. That's not a thing.
So not steal all your data. Let's use other words than that. Yes, privacy preserving ad measurement. Yeah, that sounds good. That doesn't sound like we're stealing all your data.
That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
So this is a setting under privacy and security. If you use Firefox, which you should be using Firefox, even with this Firefox. News,
even with this,
go to the show notes, click on the link, and it'll tell you, and it'll show you there's pictures of exactly where you need to change this setting. But go in and change the setting on your Firefox, disable the privacy preserving ad measurement. And by the way, they don't specify which sites are using this. They say it's a small test with a select number of sites, but they don't tell you, and they don't tell you what exactly this is doing. And so there's all kinds of like, no, this doesn't seem good, type of stuff. So disable that.
This. Oh, look, I just found it. Oh, disabled. Yeah. Boom. You're out.
Disabled.
Gone.
Yeah. So
done.
Send the message to Mozilla that this is not the right way of doing these things.
That ain't
right?
it.
Like,
that ain't it.
If you need to generate revenue, which I understand, look, like things, you can't make things for free.
Sell some t-shirts, man. You know what I'm saying? Sell some bracelets. If you came out with a Firefox fedora, I might buy it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you got a customer of one, like, Firefox fedora, whatever.
I think that's worth spinning up a whole division just for that.
I'm just saying, just something to consider.
I will tell you, and I think I have them somewhere, but when Google originally launched Chrome, they gave out these little sweatbands, right? Sweatbands, but they were for your fingers. And they were in the colors of Google Chrome because your fingers were going to work so fast with Google Chrome.
Gosh. That's such good marketing. Oh my gosh. So
it was good marketing.
That's so good.
It was good marketing. Yeah.
All right. What's not great? U.S. court temporarily puts net neutrality rules reinstatement on hold because I guess because that's what we do. Like, we just mess around with stuff now. Like, that's like, we just got to do something. I think they're bored. I think the U.S. courts are bored and they need something to do. And they're like, let's just screw with net neutrality some more because, nobody really gets it. So let's do that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody understands what it's like when all of Britain voted for Brexit, and then afterwards they were like, "Wait, what? We can't travel to Europe now?
What doing?
happened?
Oh, no.
We didn't know this.
This isn't good. We don't like this at all." Yeah, yeah, just like that.
So maybe it's the U.S. courts really trying to help us out and educating us by saying, "We're going to mess this up," and then you're going to realize how bad things are, and then you'll understand what net neutrality is.
Yeah,
and then you'll fight for it. Then, that's. I don't think that's it actually at all. But,
it just frustrates me.
Yeah.
Time for the Weird and Wacky segment.
Abominable snowman.
He's not an axe murderer.
One of the TAs turned out to be a bot. First up on Weird and Wacky, a cave discovered on the moon could be home for humans. And the only thing that I'm thinking about as I'm looking at this is that image from Star Wars where they almost get eaten by the giant space worm that was in the cave where they landed the Millennium Falcon.
Yes. Obviously, that's where the space worms are. What are you doing? Why are you trying to make us worm food?
I think they need to go down there and check and make sure that it's not the insides of a space worm before they start building a colony.
Everybody knows it is, man. Everybody knows it is. Like, that's the, I mean, listen, first of all, like, the moon, everything with the moon was faked, clearly. And, any cave in the moon is a space worm. So, like, that's just, everybody knows this. So, in fact, the moon's not even real. The whole moon, the whole thing, it's not even there. It's not even there. It's an optical illusion. The tides aren't real.
It's a set. The tides are fake. It's a wave machine. And the sun, that's also just the camera up top.
I told you about the tides, what Neil deGrasse Tyson taught about. Didn't I tell you about this on previous episode of Tech Talk, y'all?
You might have, and I probably forgot already.
So the tides don't actually come in and go out. The tides are affected by the moon. So the moon pulls the tides and the earth rolls into and out of high tide. And so really the earth is what's moving more than the tides are moving. It's kind of it's weird. So from our perception, they come in and go out, but in reality, we're moving into them. So there you go. All right. Next up, soft robot can amputate and reattach his own legs, because this is a great idea for humanity to continue to destroy itself like the Terminator. I mean, that's like straight out of Terminator, man. Like, what are you doing?
It's the Terminator goes moving and then gets to its limbs and reattaches it. It's just I don't even, man. I can't even. We don't need robots that can reconfigure themselves. That's a bad idea all around. So I did not tag this story, but it's somewhat related. I just this week read a story, and this kind of freaked me out a little bit, about ants and how ants will actually do amputations of legs and limbs of other ants if they are damaged and injured, so much so that they will have a better survival rate because of this. Like, the ant that is injured on its leg will willingly allow another ant to gnaw off its leg to amputate it so that the ant can survive. I thought it was the freakiest thing ever. And this article made me reminded me of that a little bit, of like a robot self-amputating.
Dude,
and then,
that's just straight insane.
And they actually said, like, the medical advancements of ants is basically on par with human medicine when you look at this and what they're able to do to help their fellow colony mates survive. So crazy.
Okay. So one more thing back to Terminator, in case you didn't. So Terminator 2, the one where the guy turns into liquid, right? That one. That actor, he taught himself to run like very mechanically and very, very fast for that role. But he also taught himself to fire a gun without blinking, because a robot wouldn't blink when the gun fires. So dude was able, I don't know how you could possibly do that. Like, if you clap in front of my face, I'm going to blink. But he taught himself, he legit taught himself to fire a gun without blinking. How crazy is that? So there you go.
That is weird stuff. Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine how you would do that. How do you train yourself? I guess you do it enough times.
Maybe.
And,
I don't know.
Maybe he used toothpicks in his eyes for a while, and then
that's probably it. That was it. Toothpicks. That's the way. Yeah.
Talk about sci-fi stuff and crazy stuff here. Dune-inspired spacesuit recycles astronauts' urine into drinkable water. Yum.
So my favorite part of this article is one line, and it says something to the effect of, in the spacesuits that the astronauts have used since the 1970s or whatever, there is an absorbent polymer to catch the wait, no, just say diaper. It's okay. Just say diaper. Right now they have a diaper, and that's not ideal. So we're going to recycle the urine. Let's just be real about it. Absorbent polymer? Really? That's what you're going to go with? No, it's hey, honey, the baby's absorbent polymer is full. Could you help with, we need to, I'm not sure. Where's more absorbent polymer? Anybody go to Babies R Us? I need more absorbent polymer. I just.
Do you remember in the movie, and I think this was real, Apollo 13, where they sat out on the craft for so long that one of them had to pee, and then they asked for permission, then they peed in the suit, and they, because there's no other way. You couldn't get out.
Yeah,
you were kind of locked in. And
you're you're in, man. You're in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in. So I think this solution is better.
For sure better.
Taking it and recycling it. And this is 100% possible. It sounds gross, but really when you think about it, ocean water, there's a bunch of animals that have peed and pooped in that.
And people. There's a bunch of people that have peed and pooped in that. Let's just be real.
And people too, right? But but I would say more animals have than humans.
No,
probably,
for sure.
Because there's a lot of animals in the ocean, and they're doing it all the time.
I will say, if I ever find myself wearing a spacesuit that can recycle my urine, I get the feeling I'm going to have to be extraordinarily uncomfortable before that urine comes out of my body. Like I'm going to really hold on a long time because I'm going to be like, I don't really want to drink it. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It's going to be like that kind of thing, you know? Like,
well, I mean,
situation,
you could use the restroom and just not drink the water. Like you just stay thirsty. Like,
okay, that's
not
probably
force
smarter.
You to drink
this is why we're friends. That's a great point.
It's not going to be like, well,
I'm
now
just going to get very dehydrated.
You must drink right now.
It's going to start squirting water right in your mouth immediately. Like as soon as you pee out, like, you're like getting flood. Like I can't do it. Right.
You can't do anything. It's just this continual cycle. It just becomes.
It just match streams. That is a good way to stay hydrated, I suppose. I mean, you're kind of like you're hydrated by default, right?
hey, you're not going to be able to do anything out there on your spacewalk because basically the whole time you're going to be doing this cycle.
Oh my gosh. All right. Wow. Okay. What's the last article we got? We got to keep going.
I don't know if it's you or me, but I can take it because you're still laughing. It seems like. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's actually a TikTok from Hank Azaria. It's talking to a palace guard in Simpsons characters. If you don't know, Hank Azaria does a number of the voices on The Simpsons. And very famously, the British palace guards don't ever react, crack a smile. It's the same thing with Marines too, like the ones that guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and places like that. Like, so he tries to get them to this one to crack using a bunch of different voices from The Simpsons. The guard, I'll just go ahead and give you the spoiler, does not crack, but it's worth seeing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Like hearing those voices come out of him like that were pretty great. But like, what's also wild to me about those guards, I was watching this guard right on the video, and it's not just that he doesn't smile, he doesn't move. And like, I'm not sure I can stand straight up and still for any meaningful length of time without moving, like at all. Right. Like he doesn't flinch, like nothing. You've got to train for that. Or like what's the training like? Okay, you want to be a palace guard? Great. You're going to go stand there in space number 9 for 5 hours, and we're going to video you. We'll let you know if you make it. I mean, is that the training? Like, what's the audition look like? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I know, I don't know what it is for British guards. I know for Marines that guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, it is half an hour stints at a time. They are not still, of course, they are walking in that line kind of back and forth. Right. And in general, Marines that go through that, they usually are only in that company for about 6 months. That's about the limit of time that they're able to continue on in that kind of capacity. So I don't know what it is for British palace guards. I'm sure that they are only on duty, for a certain amount of time before they get relieved and are able to take a break. But the one thing is funny with them is that, they've got these big fuzzy caps and you can't see their eyes because of them. Yeah. And I'm like, can they actually see out of those things? But it does give them this ability to move their eyes and blink without anybody noticing because it's hidden behind this big giant fur.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Tech wreck, time to get your tech wreck.
Tech wreck, chicky.
Tech wreck, time to get your tech wreck.
All right, Sanjay, it's tech wreck time. What do you have for us this week?
So I've got a neat little tool that I bought recently and I've just now tried out and I think I am in love with this thing. So a lot of times, you've got a lot of screws that you've got to, screw in, unscrew, whatever. Sometimes I'll get the drill out, but the drill is kind of a big, unwieldy thing. So I went hunting around and I happened to see this electric screwdriver. It's the Fantic S1 Pro electric screwdriver. So they've got a couple of different models of this. The one that I got has a lot of torque to it, but it's got a nice thin handle, USB-C chargeable. But one of the nice features of it is it's actually got an LED light right by the tip. So when you turn it on, it lights up where you're working. And I just used it the other day for the first time And man, it made things so much easier. It's got a forward and a reverse and different torque settings that you can set based on what you're doing. And the nice thing is the case itself has a bunch of bits in it, all held in magnetically that you can just pull out, put in, and then replace. So the kit is designed really nicely. And they've got another kit that actually has a lot more bits, but is meant for smaller electronics like computers and things like that. The torque isn't as much, but it looks like a really, really nice kit. And they've got a bunch of bits in there that are not normally available in other kits. So drivers that are really useful in electronics and things like that, it's just kind of, they use these annoying, weird screws to make it hard to open the thing. So it's like, it's not magic. You just got to get the right bit, and it's just annoying to get the right bit. But these kits from Fantic, have it. So it seems like a great product. Right now, I think it's like $70 on Amazon. There's a discount if you're a Prime member. It's really, really well done. Highly, highly recommend it. It's now a part of my toolkit. And so I don't have to worry about getting carpal tunnel when I got to screw and unscrew a bunch of screws from now on. So there you go. What about you, Adam? What do you have for us this week?
I've got a recommendation in a very different genre from yours, and it's a recommendation that I'm thinking you're probably not going to be that interested in it, but I'm going to try to talk you into anyway, which is the NCAA College Football 2025. It's an excellent game. If you like football, if you like college football, it's really, really fun. So I've played quite a few games against Mickey. I believe he's won most of them, much to my chagrin, but I'm still working on improving. And it's been great. It's been great. It's a good way to just hang out with friends and talk because you talk the whole game, you're picking plays, you're playing. It's Fortnite-ish in the sense that it's slow enough to have conversations, but there's also moments of action, which is fun too. So it's been great. I've been enjoying it. So yeah.
What platform are you playing that on?
Oh, I'm on Xbox. Yeah. So I played on Xbox. I think Mickey plays it on PS5.
Okay.
I think it's a console game only, if I'm not mistaken. And it doesn't release to the full public until like maybe now or next week. It's like somewhere later. I bought the pre-order version that costs a little bit more, but allowed me to play early, a week early, which was dumb and a bad use of money, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So there you go.
There you go. Awesome.
Sanjay, how can our listeners find and connect with you?
They can find me on my website, sanjayparekh.com. What about you, Adam?
You can find me on my website, adamjwalker.com. It's got links to everything, and sign up for my newsletter. And that's it. Thanks, folks.